Hello! Welcome to Mall Talkers. I'm Michael Paskett, aka The Mall Guy, and this is a show where retail and mall pros come to talk shop. So, in 30 minutes or less, I'm bringing you conversations from strategists, operators, innovators, and everything in between who are driving the evolution of malls today. You'll leave with tactics, stories, trends, all of these shaping what malls are, where they've been, and what they are becoming. So, pull up a chair, grab a coffee, and let's talk malls. Today, another special guest and another good friend of mine. I have Claudio Sa, the VP of Product here at Mappedin. And today, we are going to go behind the scenes of mapping a third of the world's malls. Very excited. Claudio, welcome. How are you doing today?
Thank you, Michael. I am excited. I'm honored to be on the Mall Talkers show.
It's a big deal. It's a big deal. I'm telling you. Are you ready for this pressure?
Yeah, I think it'll be fun.
I'm excited. So, I obviously know you well. Can you tell me a little bit about yourself?
Sure. Yeah. So currently VP of Product at Mappedin. I've been at Mappedin now going on 6 years. Yep. I come from a design background, product design, UI, UX, and yeah, I've been deeply immersed in the world of maps for the last 6 years. I've been working on that problem for quite a while now. So yeah, that's a little bit about my background and how I got to Mappedin.
Brilliant. And I would say deeply is putting it lightly. You've had your hands on more or less everything that we've done here at Mappedin. A lot of cool stuff that we've created, as the world has seen. A lot of cool things coming up. I'll just go ahead and dive right into it. So we power wayfinding. This is known. We do it for about a third of the world's malls. What does it take to build and maintain something at this immense kind of scale?
That is a good question. You're starting off strong. All right. Yeah, I think it ultimately what it takes is a great tooling. As you can imagine, there's a lot of space out there, and to digitize that is a bit of an effort, right? But we've been innovating in that for close on to a decade plus now at Mappedin, and so we've developed some incredible tools that make that possible, right? So converting from many different sources of information, so if you have floor plans, if you have CAD files, if you don't, how do we digitize the space? So I think that's core to what we're doing, and how we are able to do it is we have incredible technology that lets us digitize these venues. And then it's not even just the initial digitization. That's almost like the easy part in the grand scheme. It's actually, how do you deal with the nature of the space being so dynamic and it changes? So how do you keep that information up to date, right? Like in the outdoors, you can fly over satellite, and now you have the latest information. You can't do that in the indoors. So we've developed tech that lets that happen, keep that data fresh, give owner operators the ability to maintain that themselves, or we step in and help as well. But yeah, I would think like that's generally it. It's the tooling, it's the tech, it's, of course, we have developed some processes as well, as you'd expect. We have capability like data sync that lets owner operators that have systems that keep some of that data fresh, plug into our solutions so that it's real time with their data source. So that's a little bit of what it takes to do this at scale.
Yeah, I always, in all my conversations, like the tooling is always the secret sauce. And the reasoning is, and I'll be the first to admit, like anyone can create a nice, beautiful map on wherever it might be. The issue with that, though, is the moment anything changes, that map is void. That is gone because it's no longer accurate. That information that's going out to the public is useless. The tooling is what keeps all of that, in sync, accurate, and usable, or of value. And the analogy I always give is like the tooling is the heart. It's pumping the blood, pumping the information to all the extremities or where that map lives. If you don't have the heart pumping blood, everything on the end just dies out. Like it's no longer of use. So very good.
Yeah.
thought within that. Completely agree.
Yeah, I would add too, like we live now in an AI world, right? So we should
Hmm.
talk a little bit about how that helps. And we've developed our own computer vision model to convert floor plans, for example. Like that is a big factor in how you scale this up to is reducing that time to map. And so we've incorporated that capability, and we have an exciting roadmap. I'm probably going to leak all kinds of stuff to your audience today.
I'm here for it. I'm
I
here
love
for it.
talking about what we're doing, and we're doing it so fast that I don't know. I think it's okay that we give your audience a bit of a preview through our chat. So, for example, AI for conversion is something we've already done and innovated, and now we're looking at AI in the maintenance area as well, of how to keep the data, keep the map up to date. And there's some super exciting stuff we'll be releasing this year in that area as well.
Yeah, that would be not even would be. That is game changing. I've seen it. The world will be seeing it soon. I think it's very interesting.
Mhm.
For the listeners, you said computer vision model. What do you mean by, like, essentially that is AI mapping, correct? For those that don't know.
Yeah, it is. What we're able to do is you upload a floor plan or send in a floor plan, an image. We can even do it on you taking a photo of a floor plan. Of course, we support CAD files and other types of files and formats. But at the end of the day, if you have a file that depicts your space, 2D view of your space top down, we can process that through our system, and we have an AI model that will look at that file and figure out or detect these are walls, these are doors, these are windows, these are desks or objects, and instantly convert that to the digital data set that we ultimately create and build all of our solutions on top of.
Chef's kiss. Love it. So I will say malls change all the time. You have scale, one-off malls, whatever it might be. Stores change. The trend in the mall space right now is mixed use, is activation, is the third space is what is called, or a place of belonging to drive individuals for dwell time, repeat visits, etc. This always has been, but is now more the case that malls are consistently changing. They're going through renovations, kiosks come in, come out, pop-ups come in, come out. So there is a lot of changes. And we did hint at this a little bit before through the AI maintenance, through easy tooling. How do you build a product where accuracy is obviously the number one priority? Like thousands, tens of thousands of people are using the end product of that map, but it's also one of the most challenging things to solve for. So how do you think about that when going through, your thought process?
Yeah. Well, it certainly helps to be in this game for many years and working with our customers to understand the complexity of it, right? So when we recently innovated in this area, the new mapping platform and AI capability, one thing we had as an advantage is we knew how difficult this was. We had the history of converting these files and digitizing these spaces and what was difficult about it. So you have to have some of that knowledge to come into this. You have to have a deep appreciation for the nuances within the indoors. Everyone has something unique. Architects like to express themselves in the buildings, and so there isn't a one size fits all version of almost anything. Think of escalators or elevators, or the way things work in the indoors is often very custom. So you do learn a lot of that when you're doing this at scale. That then informs your decision making of how should you digitize the space most efficiently. But at the end of the day, it really is to have that aim in mind of reducing the time overall. Like you have to have some way to bring the time to making a map down. So that's kind of was our guiding principle. If we essentially looked at it and said, if we had to start over, how would we do that? What would we do differently? And some of the things we did is we did, well, obviously the AI model helped a lot. We trained that up, and that obviously saves a lot of time. But we also had this goal of this has to be usable by anybody. Like in order to stay fresh and maintained, you have to have this accessible to people. So we used design paradigms like, I remember thinking about this during the build as like, my kids play with Lego, and like they understand they understand how to put certain blocks in certain areas that will fit the block, and then they end up building something. And I remember just like leaning into that and saying, well, we should have dedicated tooling for these discrete concepts. Walls, that should be a tool. Like doors, that should be a tool. And that makes it much more simple and accessible for anybody to do it. So that, plus the AI stuff, the new tech, like new capability, and then just the domain knowledge of having worked with some of the top mall operators and venue operators around the world. That really helped end up with something great that we're really proud of now.
Yeah, I would double click on that last point as well. Like, well said on everything. One of the secret sauces or whatever is we have all these ideas on what we think is going to be useful. We have the added benefit of actually talking to the VPs and SVPs of a third of the world's malls to hear from them, is this useful, yes or no? If not, what would you suggest? And take all that feedback to actually create a product and tooling that is going to help the masses specific to an industry and broadly for different industries as well.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I was thinking a lot about the map making side of it, but there are other areas of our products and tools that let our customers manage what that experience for the shopper is.
Mm-hmm.
What are the paths that they should be taking and should not be taking? What are the highlights at the venue? What are some events or promotions that are happening? So equipping our customers with the ability for them to do that themselves is pretty powerful.
It's extremely powerful. And it does segue into what I wanted to be the next topic or question of how would you position, or what would you tell a mall operator to do to make their map 10x better, more useful, from your design background or even from your product side of things? Because this does come up a lot, even existing clients, like, how do we use Mappedin better for potentially new clients or people that are just looking for consulting from me? It's like, we have this, we want to get to here, what can we do to get to there?
Yeah, that's a cool question we should dig into. I would say more data is better. More data about the space into our platform is better. Like, what I mean by that is, let's take a mall. Sure, you have to identify where all the stores are. Great, but have you considered indicating where the EV parking is and where the where the accessible spots are? I think there's military parking in certain areas, and all those, that's good information that is meaningful and useful and adds to the experience for the shopper and the value back from the wayfinding map solution. So more data is going to just enable better experiences. So that, I think that's when I would encourage owners and mall owners and operators to think about is what other systems can we integrate into here, or what other data should we be providing or adding to the platform. And then, yeah, I think the other thing with like getting more value would be things like the indoor positioning stuff. Now, this is a whole tangent we can go on, but you can have a good experience with giving people that map so they understand what's here, what's at this mall, how do I get to it. You don't necessarily have to have the indoor positioning part. And for the audience, what I'm really talking about, the analogy here, is the blue dot that you're all used to seeing on Google Maps that follows you around. And so we power that stuff, that experience too. And so that's the thing where you can add more value and back to your customer, your visitor, your shopper. But it also gives you, as the owner operator, some value back. So let's say you actually do the work of enabling positioning. So that might look like giving us a call and saying, I want to enable that. We can help do that through Wi-Fi surveys. We come on site, we do a Wi-Fi survey. We do a visual 360 video survey that we use for a visual positioning. I feel like I could almost do a whole talk just on the indoor blue dot at this point. But I mean, those just to gloss over it a little bit. If you're saying, hey, I want to add this capability to make it richer for my visitor, you can do that. We can enable that for you. And then they have that experience. The shopper has that experience of more situational awareness. They know where they are relative to the map because they see the blue dot. Great, and that's great. But also for the owner operator, now you have a new thing that you've just unlocked, which is more insight into how people are moving through your space. So we can give you back better analytics and intelligence around how people are understanding, navigating, searching within the mall. I've recently started taking the perspective and thinking about our Mappedin web. Internally, we call it Mappedin web. That's the embeddable visitor wayfinding solution that you can deploy on your website or app. We call it Mappedin web internally. And then Mappedin directory is our physical kiosk that you can deploy in your mall. And those two products, you can look at them. I think it's interesting to look at them as sensors. They're building sensors for you. As the mall owner operator, you now have deployed new sensors that tell you about how people are interacting with your space.
That's really interesting. I hadn't thought about that. I will ask, because I do want to dig into this. Why would you say that?
I think it's because of the analytics side of it. It's, like if someone shows up at your mall and they walk up to that directory and they interact with it, so you immediately now know someone is located here at this point in time. That's already a piece of intelligence you've got because there's a directory and someone touched it. So now you know a human is there. And then if they type in, I'm searching for a Michael Paskett likes shirt, a Hawaiian
Tommy
flower
Bahamas
shirt of some kind.
Yeah, it's a good shirt. Good choice.
Now you know something more. You've now learned that the person that was standing there is searching for that. Maybe that tells you, hey, at this point in my mall, maybe I need a Michael Paskett store somewhere around here. And so that's what I mean about a sensor. Obviously, the mobile experience, our Mappedin web product on mobile, amplifies that because that's anywhere. You can get that insight anywhere around your venue. Someone can open up that experience, type in a search, trigger the blue dot experience, and now you have some insight that you didn't previously have. Maybe your leasing team would be interested in some of that information. So that's kind of why I've been starting to realize and think of it as a sensor. I'd be curious, Michael, when you talk to customers in the mall space, if that resonates. We'll find out together.
Absolutely. I will just say in general, it does resonate. Like the barrier for understanding the customer journey one step better is the map. The map is used. People are de facto going to use it. They know what it is. It's almost an expectation to have something of the digital variety in the space. And what it should be doing, and is in our case, is collecting intent, soft intent, or discovery. And what I mean by those three is like intent is Michael Paskett needs to go to the Korean skincare beauty store because he needs his serum and toner, as he always does. And I have money in my hand. If you can get me to my intended destination, that money is yours. That's intent. There's soft intent where it's along the lines of, I am hungry. I know I am hungry. I don't know what I want. I want to see every potential option to find a place to eat. If you can accomplish that, you've got my money. And then there's the discovery side of things where it's me with my kids and I have 2 hours to kill and we're just walking around. Like, I do want to discover something I don't necessarily know, but there's a good chance I still have money in my hand. And there's a good chance if they see a candy store or you can help move them along in that discovery process, my dwell time will be longer. My repeat visits are going to be higher. But ultimately, like, I am going to stumble or find a place to meet my discovery criteria at the time.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. I'm going to add another thing that I let's just leak more stuff together.
Put a plug in the ship.
Yeah, maybe one of your many producers could put this in post, just a clip here of something. I'm going to talk about early, but look, it's almost done. We've got some customers with some live
Let's go
beta access already, but it's something we're calling Real View. I don't know if Frank's going to maybe rename that at some point.
He's our marketing team.
But let's, that's what it is we're going to introduce this capability to use an analogy like that might be familiar. That is the the street view on some of the outdoor map solution providers, where you get the real life view. And so we're bringing that to the indoors so that shoppers will be able to load up the Mappedin web wayfinding product that you've deployed for them, and they will be able to see a image on the corner of the experience, and they click that and they're now in what we call real view. And so that will be a fully explorable mode where it's as if you're walking in through the mall. And so we've gotten a lot of excitement around it. As you might imagine, it's super cool. I think there's a utility in it as a visitor as well, planning ahead. I would use this myself actually whenever because I'm not a shopper like you are. No,
I don't know what you're talking about.
I like to go in fairly efficiently, and I always forget, even in my local mall, I always forget where is that store in relation to others, and so I use the maps, and this was just an enhancement to that. Lets me discover the space, lets me see the space as it actually really is, and highlight the space too, right? So this will make the malls look great. I think it makes the product overall better. So you'll see if we put this up in a view as I was talking over it. Hopefully your audience will get excited at least as I am. That would be great.
I'm excited. I will say, for the local mall that you go to, because that's my mall as well, the Korean beauty store is right next to the Indigo, and right across is a candy store. So you can take the kids, make a whole day out of it. I'll see you tomorrow. I'll bring you along.
All right.
Back to the indoor view. I do think this, I've seen it, we'll show it. Hopefully the leak is okay and we can still do it, but it'll be out in the public soon enough anyway.
Yeah.
It is cool. It is game changing. Like, it comes from a special place in in my heart. Working at Google like 8-ish years ago at this point, which is a wow moment. But that's when the street view was starting to kick off. It was more outdoor view, and there is a lot of use cases even that we don't know about this. Like, you can actually think about using this for leasing, pairing it with the interior. It goes on, and we're going to be able to deploy it easily, easy to maintain and manage. I will not get into that portion because that's the secret sauce, but this will be coming soon, and it's very cool.
Indeed. I'm excited.
Just being aware of time, I'm going to cut it short to one more question, and then we'll go ahead and do our outro. So maps, and I talk about this frequently in my calls, soon to be on here, they've always been historically or de facto thought of as wayfinding. Map equals wayfinding. A map equals I need to get somewhere. I look at the map, done. That is not the case. I know this. You know this. Property managers or owners or landlords probably know this to an extent, but it's very siloed. And I would suggest, or ask, sorry, what can a map do today for mall teams that the listeners might not be thinking of or that you've seen?
Great question. I think there's so much that can be done, and I'll put it this way: we call it a map when you see it. It's like it's a map, and there's it has a heavy connotation and correlation with wayfinding.
Hmm.
The map, but I like to think more of it as it's you've digitized the indoors, you've digitized the venue, and then it's what can you do with that? Well, many things. For example, I referenced leasing a second ago, and that's a thing that's very easy to use the same. I'm going to use the word map because we're talking about map, but it really should be the digitized.
It's an asset.
It's
It's an asset at
geospatial
this point.
data. Yeah. And so you can use that same map, or let's say you can recycle the effort that you've gone through to create that map. Very easily deploy now a view of that for the leasing team.
Mhm.
If they are, let's say a prospect comes in and they say, well, I want 2,000 square feet in 6 months. What do you have? Well, the leasing team needs to have an answer to that. And so we can have and not only answer that question, but then a display. And so that's where I think this data could be quickly adapted to create a leasing type solution that is purpose built to enable that team to answer those questions of what's available, where, when. Here's the details about that unit from the leasing perspective rather than the shopping perspective, right? So yes, the Apple Store is in this same location. For the shopper needs to know details about that, opening and close hours and all that. But the leasing view would say, well, that's the current tenant. Here's their terms and their dates and their costs, and here's the vacant units. That's just one quick example of taking what you built for wayfinding and using that foundational data, the maps to simplify it, and deploying for a leasing use case. But there's so much more. What about your security team? Are they currently equipped with a view of the venue that gives them all of the context that they would need to maximize the security of that space? So we've worked with customers that leverage that same map, add additional data, of course, that wouldn't be available to the shopper view, but is available to the security folks, and they can utilize it for their use cases. I could keep going. What about assets? How do you manage your assets in your facility? How do you manage the facilities team and ticketing and service ticketing and on and on and on. And we're uncovering all kinds of more use cases as we get our trusted customers to say, hey, I have this problem. I think you can help. We're there for that. This is very useful data. And then, of course, back to the analytics earlier. There's a big analytics story to be told with these maps. And the more sensors, the more use cases that you use that foundational data we're calling the map, the more intelligence you'll get back. So there's so much more than the wayfinding.
Very well said. I see it a lot. I have it all in my conversations. Like a map is contextual, but it's offering the context to a myriad of other applications or use cases. But more specifically, just touching on the analytics piece, is it helps to give your analytics meaning or context, or like a way to view things, but also it helps to tell a story of the journey, because using these, you can very likely know where individuals are, what they're looking for, not who, because that's, not something you want to get into, but you can start to create this story of the journey that you might not have known prior.
Absolutely.
Just being aware of time, I'm going to thank you first and foremost, but also see if you had any parting words that you want to say, any bits of knowledge, any recommendations on Hawaiian shirts, because I can give you some if not.
I thought about wearing one to be on your show with you, but I actually don't have one that lives up to the standard. You actually went pretty mild today. That's pretty low key for you.
I did. I am going and taking time off, so they're all in a suitcase, like right now.
Nice. No, I don't think I mean, obviously I could talk at length about what we're doing in the coming months and years. I'm super excited about it. I think we've just begun to scratch the surface of what's possible when you create a digital representation of your venue, and I'm super excited to work with our customers more deeply to say, hey, what else can we solve with this data? It's really interesting to see how these new use cases develop. So
It is. It
yeah,
is. It's an exciting time, especially with the AI drive. Like, things are getting very cool very quickly. And I do want to thank you again for coming on, joining me. I'll see you in probably for 10 minutes in the next meeting, which is going to be great. But I do want to say thank you to the listeners. Let us know if you have any questions. Feel free to reach out. We'll have the LinkedIn of myself and Claudio as normal at the end of this. Thank you again, and we'll see you next time to talk malls.
cheers. Thank you.
Take it easy.